Welcome to the Autodesk Inventor tutorial series. In this series we'll be covering the basics of 2D sketching, 3D modeling, and assembling. So I'll tell you that it doesn't matter what version of Autodesk you have. I have 2014, but pretty much everything's the same in all of the Autodesk. So if you have earlier version or later version, it's the same. So we start with a new project. In this series we'll be using the metric system. So click on the metric tab in your template and choose the standard IPT. The IPT is for part files of your 3D models. So we'll choose standard millimeter IPT. So you'll see all these tools and features show in Autodesk, and this is called the ribbon bar with all these tools. And in this first part of the series we'll be covering 2D sketching. So we'll start with making a 2D sketch and choosing the top plane, right? And in this tutorial I'll be covering the drawing tools. So over here is the drawing tools, and we'll start with the line tool. So with the line tool, it's very basic. So you start with your first point of the line and then your end point of the line, and then you can continue making points, and then you can go back to the first starting point. And you also can end your point wherever you want. So if I want to end my point right here, I'd right click and press OK, or you can double click right here, or you can press escape. So I'm just gonna double click, and that ended the line. So the next tool, the circle. So you start with your center point, and then you can control the radius of the circle. The arc tool. And with all the drawing tools you can snap to any point, like right here, or your line, like any part of the line, and even circles too, even the center point. So the arc tool, you have your start point, your end point, and then you can control the amount of curve that you want the arc to be. The rectangle tool. So you start with your first corner and then you end with your end corner. And the spline tool, it just creates curves that you can control. So if you want to build a curvy model, just use the spline tool. But the disadvantage of the spline tool, you can't really control the dimensions of the shapes very well, but I'll explain about that later. So the ellipse tool, it's basically a combination of the arc tool and then the circle tool. So you start with one point and then the next point, and then you can control the amount of curve that this oval has. And the point tool allows you to create snapping points for the 2D sketching. So if I wanted a line to snap onto the oval right over here, I'd click on this point right there, and then I go back to the line tool, and now I can snap right here where I put the line. And the fillet tool creates rounded edges on corners. So you have to have a corner, so two edges. You pick your first edge and then your second edge, and then you can control the amount you want it fillet. So I want it 5 millimeters, and the 5 millimeters and there, and the polygon tool. So the polygon creates a number of sides you want, so you just pick any. I want a 5-sided polygon, so over here you type in 5 and then I pick my center point, and then I can control the scale and the rotation. And finally the text function. So you click on the text and then you click where you want the text to be. So I want the text to start in the corner of this rectangle, and then you can control your font, your size. I want 1mm, and all your other good stuff. And I'm just gonna type in Autodesk and press OK, and it typed Autodesk right there. Well, I spelled it wrong, but yeah. And that's it for the drawing tools. In the next video, I'll show you navigation tips for navigating the Autodesk interface.